Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy back at it again. Welcome to another edition of the Rico Report, brought to you by the Buffalo Fanatics. For those joining for the very first time, do me a favor, smash that like, subscribe to the channel, enjoy yourself. Content, man. It's the off-season business, off-season conversations. Listen, these are the dog days of the off-season. We just got to get used to it. This is the business, right? And it's my job to bring you guys a little bit of content, a little bit of something to talk about when it comes to these Bills. So, ladies, gentlemen, welcome. For those that are tuned in on Spotify, just tuned in on iTunes, all that good stuff, welcome. Thank you for listening. We're here now. So, folks, let's get right into it. Welcome to another edition. We got some things to talk about, boys and girls. The Bills. We are in a position right now that we are desperate. Yeah, somebody said, great comment. Is it September yet? It feels like it's going to be that way, man. It feels like it's going to be that way. But truth be told, there are some things that we got to fix up with this team. And if we feel that we are nearly there, we're not. We're not there yet. We still got some things that we desperately need to move on and work on. If you asked me last offseason, how good do you feel about this team? How strong do you feel? I would have been, I feel great. Let's get it, right? We came off of a 13-3 season. Prior to that, we're going to a new season. I felt fantastic. But as the season went on, you saw that we had some deficiencies. When we lost the teams we had no business losing to, or we couldn't win the close games where we needed someone to make a play, close out. We didn't have that. So it makes you dive deep into the Senior Bowl to figure out where can we find key contributors to this Bills team. And I've told you guys this before. I am no draft guru. I am no draft college prospect guru. I am not that guy. However, I pay attention. I do pay attention to who is standing out, who could help this team, and what positional needs that we need. And I'm gonna tell you right now, man, there are some names that stand out to me. My man Bobby is a triple OG when it comes to this draft prospect stuff, and I respect his game because he will straight up tell you, this guy's who you got to pay attention to. You guys been sleeping on this guy. There are some guys that you already know about. I got fuzz in my beard. There's some guys that we already know about that people have been talking about, and there's some sleepers that nobody knows about. And my man Bobby that runs our Instagram page is all over it. So if you see him posting stuff, don't think it's some fluff. It's because he knows what's good. He hasn't steered me wrong. And there's a name that's standing out right now to me and to others that I'm so glad, because people put me on some people and like, yo, check this guy out, check that guy out. And I'm like, whew, that guy could be a problem for us. Now, here's the real question. Where is it that we need this help? Where is it that we need to add depth? And this is something that kind of like, okay, so we have a good team, but where is our issue? Where do our issues lie? Well, first things first, we got to look at the trenches, right? We have to look at the trenches, offensive line and defensive line, but more specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Do we have a guy that can take over a game? I'm going to give you a prime example. The Rams. The Rams are going up against I don't want to say underrated, a good 49ers team overall. I mean, when they played the Bills, they didn't really look that great. But also, we were playing Nick Mullins the last time we played the 49ers. So, go figure. But that's not the point. And by the way, shout out to my man, Code Man Cino. Shout out from Palm Springs, California. Yay! What up, Code Man? What's happening? So it got me. It has me thinking. I got a super chat coming in. Let me go read that super chat real quick. Mike Delaire, what's up, Mike? Big Mike. With these changes, what do you think the odds are we'll get a solid backup quarterback? Seems that position has been a rotating door for the last few years. Backup. I mean, it's nice to have a bona fide backup, young enough that is just going to stick around for a while, right? The Chad Henneys of the world. I mean, you can get them. The where if you put them into the game, they're not going to embarrass you, right? That's what you want in a backup. I always remember Doug Whaley saying it. Okay, you got yourself a good backup quarterback that will at least keep you 500. So if Josh Allen is out 4 games, my backup better win me 2. If he wins me 4, that's even better. But at least win me 2 of the 4 games. Keep me at 500, 50 feet. And I've always thought about that. I'm like, just don't lose the game for us, right? Just try to do what you've got to do. Now, I'm looking at this roster. I'm like, where is it that we need to fill? Where do we need to find our difference maker? So I go back, the Rams and 49ers game, right? Aaron Donald. I know Aaron Donald is a freaking special cat, one of the best defenders in the game, if not the best defender in the game. Put that title aside. The point is this: he's a game wrecker, right? The game was tight, and it took him, Aaron Donald, to make a play, an individual play to alter the game, to give his opportunity, to give his team the edge, the ultimate edge. We don't have that on this defensive side of the ball, especially in the trenches. We don't have a guy that can take over. And I know those guys they're hard to find. I mean, the last guy that we had on this roster on the defensive front that could really wreck a game and really mess you up, Aaron Schobel. And if I go, let's go past Aaron Schobel. I might be tripping a little bit. Let me go past Aaron Schobel. I'm trying to, on the top of my head, I'm trying to think of an edge rusher that we had where you're like, okay, we gotta block that dude. Can you guys think of anybody other than Aaron Schobel? I'm trying to think. Marcel Darius had his moments. Marcel Darius had his moments where you're like, okay, you gotta figure out where Marcel Darius is. Mario Williams. That's the last person we've had. Mario Williams was the last individual we had on in a Buffalo uniform in the trenches that was problematic, that you had to account for him or he's going to ruin your day. We haven't had one since Mario Williams. It's been a few years, several. We need that. That's the difference, because the Bills, and if you look at it, the Bills have won games. What was it? 12 games or something of that nature. 12 points or more, they've beat the team. So when they win, they beat you down. Like, they score at will. You just can't do anything about it because Josh and the team is rolling. But when a team keeps it close, that's where we fall short. What were we, like 0-6 or 1-6, something of that nature? Actually, we're 0-4. So what that means is we don't have a guy on the defensive side of the ball to say, you know what, let me ice this game. Let me pick this ball off and call it a day. It's over for you bums. We don't have that. And we need that desperately. Now, will we find that? Will we find that in the Senior Bowl? I hope. Is it going to be in this draft somewhere? You damn right it will be. Our scouts have got to do the job. If our scouts can do the job, then we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. I think we'll find some talent. BJ Bills comes in with a super chat. I appreciate you, BJ Bills. What's happening? He says, yo, do you think the NFL is rigged since Des Bryant and Flores spoke out? Hold on a second. Let me read that over again. Do you think the NFL is rigged since Des Bryant and Flores spoke out? Because there are a lot of B's going on in today's NFL. I think the NFL is rigged. I don't think it's rigged to the point where, like, we're going to make this and make this happen because that's what we need to happen. No. Do I think there are some people that have no integrity for the game and they will do anything possible to have an edge in some way, some form? Absolutely. Allegations are out there. The allegations are ugly when it comes to when it comes to what's going on with Flores. And then we'll talk on Flores afterwards when I have an open forum and we can talk about that. But we'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that. And by the way, thank you guys for answering. I see that you guys are coming in with those comments when it comes to who's available, who's not, and in terms of who was the game record. Well, Mario Williams was the last Buffalo Bill to really be a difference maker, a guy that can wreck the game and really ice the game for you. You know what I'm saying? Kickers are great. You know what I mean? You get last minute drive from your offense and the kicker gets a field goal. We got that part down pat. Problem is sometimes we need to maintain. We need to stop that final drive from someone. And if we don't have that, that's a problem for us. We need to fix that. And we currently don't have that right now. We just don't. We just don't. Michael Lanzone says, "Hey Rico, you don't think Poyer Hyde are game changers?" But I'm not talking about guys in the back end. I'm talking about on the line. I'm talking about in the trenches because that's where we lack, right? Who was? I asked the question last week. Who was our best lineman? I had a whole lot of answers. I had Russo. I had Ed Oliver. I even had Phillips. People were saying Phillips, Addison. So I need a clear cut number one pass rusher on this team. You go to the Bengals, you know who it is. It's Hendricks. You go to the Rams, you know who it is. It's Donald. You go to the 49ers, you know what it is. It's Bosa. You go to the Patriots, it's Judon. You feel me? Like you know who's who. We don't have that guy. And I'm hoping that we can establish that sometime soon. But our cornerback system, listen, our back end is solid. But we just need someone in the trenches. We desperately do. That's just my opinion. Terrence Blanton says, "Yo, man, I misrated our Rico, man. Politically correct, media trained ain't Rico, ain't it." Yo, you are funny. You're a trip, man. Hey, sometimes, fellas, sometimes you just can't be cussing up a storm. You know what I'm saying? You can't be cussing up a storm just cuss. I mean, you sound uneducated. But I know you guys are smarter than that. You guys know me better than that. But yo, when a good rant needs to happen and that good F-bomb needs to be dropped, you best believe I'm going to drop my F-bombs. But he said media trained. Yo, you a trip, Terrence. You're a trip, bro. Anyways, folks, I'm not gonna take you anymore. I mean, we're gonna keep talking on the Senior Bowl chatter, but I will be bringing on friend of the show. I've always wanted to use this friend of the show, Scott Kennedy. You guys already know my man Scott Kennedy, former eye in the sky type scout. You're saying he knows what he's looking at. He knows what's happening. And right now he's got the eyes right down in Mobile, Alabama. You know what I'm saying? And he's got he's done a great job. You guys need to go and check out his YouTube channel. I put it in the link. It's in the link. Y'all need to go and hit that man up. He's at what? 1.2K subs? No, sir. We need to get this guy up to 2K subs immediately, and then we're just gonna grow him from there. So without further ado, let me bring in my guy, Scott Kennedy. What up, Scott?
Rico, it is great to be here again. It's humbling to be called a friend of the show because I've had so much fun on the show. I'm glad you're having me back.
I love it. Friend of the show. I've always wanted to use to it. My man Joe Budden always had this thing where friend of the show would come on. You know what? You are a friend of the show. So Kennedy, Scott, talk to me, man. The Senior Bowl. We've had 3 days now of drills and prospects going left, right, center. Talk to me. What's the experience been like down in Mobile?
Wet. It was wet. No, I got to see 2 days. I was there for days 1 and 2, and then days 3 they closed down to credentialed media, and they just let their media partners come in and local because of the space, because of the weather. So I drove home. You know, I was like, well, I got plenty of work to do. I think I did 700 video clips that I had to go through. So you have to go through them several times. The experience there was, off the cuff. I've got a light on in the background. Let me turn this one off.
No, the light is good. Your light is perfect.
Okay.
You got the makeup on, and makeup looks good. You're good, man.
My forehead's good and shiny. I get lots of Peyton Manning comments when I'm on talking with the Broncos. John, thank you, my friend. Thank you for the welcome back. My first thoughts on here were the quarterbacks are better at the Senior Bowl this year than they were last year. That doesn't, last year the top guy was a good one, Mac Jones, but after that it became meh to bad. There was immediately two guys there. I said, why are people talking about Felipe Franks and Jamie Newman in the second round? These guys shouldn't be drafted. And they weren't. They weren't. So you get guys like us here that start doing all of this. You see, who is the Ohio State quarterback that says, I didn't come here to play school? Cordell, I couldn't.
Cordell.
Not Patterson. That's our guy down in Atlanta.
No, Cardell Jones.
I remember watching Cardell Jones in high school, and I told my friend, I'm like, you're like, oh, this is going to be the guy. I'm like, well, he can't throw, and then he had a nice little run, big guy, runs the ball, runs that Urban Meyer offense where run first, like Tim Tebow. All of a sudden I start hearing about first round draft. I'm like, he can't throw. But you still have to be able to throw the ball in this league. So I think the quarterbacks overall, at least five. Bailey Zappi was a little out of over his head the first day, but adjusted well the next day.
Right.
There's going to be lots of up and down with this group because I don't think there is one true guy. I thought Malik Willis was head and shoulders, physically talented. Maybe not everybody, because I thought Sam Howell out of North Carolina was fairly close. They're within an eighth of an inch of each other, a pound of each other, and then very similar arm strength, and they can both run. But the one thing that I was fairly certain of is I didn't want a quarterback in the top 10. That's what I felt like coming out of there. I don't want a quarterback in the top 10.
So you really didn't like Cardell Jones, huh? And we as Bills fans, I'll speak for myself. I thought he was going to be the next Ben Roethlisberger, big boy, big arm, terrible.
No, he the big arm. There's a difference between being able to throw the ball far and being able to throw the ball far quickly.
Right.
And like Tebow. Tebow was a good passer. Go look at his college stats. You don't throw for all the yards that he did. But when push comes to shove, that ball was dropping below his waist before he was throwing it. That's two steps to an NFL cornerback.
I hear you.
And Cardell Jones didn't have the, even the accuracy that Tim Tebow did. Cardell Jones couldn't throw. He throw the ball a long way, but unless you're throwing airmail Hail Marys, that doesn't do you any good in the NFL. So, but Malik Willis, I think, is a guy I think that has the best upside. My other big takeaway with this, especially compared to last year, and I know this is something that you had said, talk about needs, is the defensive line is so much better. So not just deep. Edge. We've heard edge. But I'm liking the big guys, Rico. I really am. We're going 6 or 7 deep on defensive tackles that can play. And I don't really remember. I can't remember anybody last year that I was like, oh, yeah, need that guy on the defensive line. Literally, I don't remember anybody.
So I have my man, Bobby. He's he's our resident draft guru, I like to call him. And he gave me a name, and I started really looking at some stuff on him quickly. Perion freaking Winfrey. Dude. Listen, he looks like, and I was just talking about game record. Like every team should have one guy on the defensive line that will stop an imposing drive that's going to end your game, right? If you're up 4, you need that defensive line to make that strip sack, to make that big stop, do whatever it takes to make a stop. Aaron Donald did that for the 49ers, for the Rams against the 49ers. Perion Winfrey looks like a guy that he can just take over a game and just be a menace. Talk to me about this Perion Winfrey.
So there were a couple of guys like that kind of traded places, but Perion Winfrey, Oklahoma, 6'3", shade over 300 pounds, a good size. There's a condition if your reach is a certain percentage longer than your height. There's a condition for it. I don't remember what it's called. And I once read that like 99%, like all but one NBA players has this condition. They got super long arms. Well, he is listed at 6'3" and 3/4. We'll just call that 6'4", which is 76 inches. Okay. The man's got an 86-inch reach. That's 7'2" wingspan. He's got a 7'2" wingspan on a 300-pound frame. And a lot of times you worry about, okay, how's that going to affect your leverage? He's still plenty strong, still plenty quick, and does a good job of using that reach to his advantage. I've got the one-on-ones. He's on the national team at Oklahoma. So if you go to my channel, look for the national 1v1s. And eventually I'll get to him where I cut up his highlights and put together a full clip for him. But watch how they use their hands. Whoever gets hands inside usually wins. Or if I can keep your hands off me, I win. So I like him. I really did. He's one of those guys I'm talking about that I'm embarrassed to say I literally cannot remember a single defensive tackle from the Senior Bowl last year. That's how forgettable they were.
You know what? And I'll take that. Now, I was just Perry Winfrey. He looks light, and I use this term because I've heard it before. Light in the pants. Is he what from TV? He looks like a good size, but not as girthy. You know what I'm saying? Pause, but not as a big boy as the other guys. Like, what am I looking at?
6'4", 303. You know,
so he wears
he's
it well.
carrying his weight well. You know,
Uh-huh.
lean isn't necessarily a bad thing. He'll get some more junk in the trunk. If you look at NFL linebackers versus high school and college linebackers, the extra 20 pounds they carry is all in their thighs and their hips and their butt.
Yeah.
I say it kind of like, the freshman 15 that we talk about in college for the fair sex. All the weight goes right to their butt. That's where they get stronger. That's where you can tell the athletes are the ones that are putting in the work. And, he squats.
That's the way I like my women. All up in the butt.
He's got room.
Go ahead.
He's got room, but he's 305 pounds. Now, are you going to run out there in a 3-4 and you need him to be a gap plugger? Then maybe not. But if you're in a 4-3 and you can put him at one of the two defensive tackles, or hell, even a 3-4 and you want to try him at end and as a big end, that's not completely out of the question either. So I do like him. Now, I like the fact that there's a bunch of them, even if there's not a single any one of them that I'm looking at as an Aaron Donald. They can't all be Aaron Donald, Rico.
No, they can't. That's fact.
But you can get serviceable. You can get plus players, and you can get help. There's a lot of help to be had at the defensive tackle position in this class. It's not just the edge guys.
This actually makes me very pleased because I in my opinion, as a Bills fan, I feel like we need a little bit more depth because we're losing some guys on the squad. I mean, we're going to be left with Ed Oliver, which is great. I love Ed Oliver, former Houston player. Then you've got Boogie Basham, and then you've got Greg Rousseau. Right, those are the three young guys, and Epinesa. Excuse me, you can never forget about Epinesa out of Iowa. So those are you got a young core, but none of the edge rushers there have proven enough to me yet. Epinesa, he's still something that we need to work on. Greg Rousseau's a rookie, so we're still going to get to see what he's got. Ed Oliver's coming into his own. He's no nose tackle. He's a 3-tech. So Perry Winfrey, I don't know if that works. If not, because you don't want him plugging up the hole, you want him to attack and get after it. So we'll see how that plays out. Moving on to another position group. As for the Bills, I'm looking at corner. Does anybody stand out for you at the cornerback position?
I don't know the corners well enough beyond the guys at the very top of the draft. The Senior Bowl, it's tough, especially when I wanted to watch the wide receivers competitively with the corners more closely on day 3. I go quarterbacks day 1, which brings your wide receivers and a little bit of one-on-ones.
Yep.
And then I go to the trenches on day 2, and then I go back to basically the full package on day 3. And I missed day 3. But Rico, for the most part, at Senior Bowl, skill guys aren't really going to be there because if they're good enough to play in the first round, they're not there 4 years. They're coming out in 3. So you don't see running backs at the Senior Bowl. You don't see wide receivers at the Senior Bowl, and you usually don't see cornerbacks at the Senior Bowl. Where you do see him is Derek Stingley Jr. at the top, Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati, Andrew Booth, Clemson, maybe one of those guys falls to 20.
Okay.
But I think if you want one of those 3, you have to go up and get one. But after that, I don't know the corner class beyond the very top of the heap very well. And I wasn't going to learn a ton about, I like Roger McCreary. There's a kid in Missouri that had decent size and move, but is he a first round type? I couldn't get that feel in that setting in that amount of time.
I got a comment coming from my man Bobby. Says I would let Andrew Booth babysit my unborn child. Here's the name.
If he's anything like AJ Terrell, I'd name mine Andrew Booth. Andrew Booth Kennedy.
Yeah, I like that. Here's another thing I'm intrigued by. Trevor Penning. This guy is he's a big boy, number one, and he looks like he has a nasty streak to him, but to the point where it's like undisciplined nastiness.
Well, actually, I disagree with that. If you don't mind, I'm going to show you a clip. Can I share a clip in here? Let me hit the share button in here and hit video file. This is Trevor Penning first day First
Hopefully it's
day.
gonna work out. I hope it works out. Yes, it does.
I think
Perfect.
you'll have to show it. You'll have to show it.
Hold on here. I'm gonna.
So this is him at left tackle. Good feet, good strength. Little of that. Yeah, take some of that with you. So that's Tariq Smith. But you see, discipline. He didn't lose his temper. He's not up there in his face jawing. It's calculated. It's cold. It's nasty.
But wait, play till the end. This is what people need to see. It's at the end of the plays. This is what people. If you watch Trevor Penning, so everything's good. You got it. Perfect. Here it is. There's a nastiness. What are you doing?
But like I said, that's controlled. That's just leaving a little extra. He's not up in his face where he's lost his temper, where he's jawing on somebody. So, and that was the one I wanted to show you. So yeah, there's a little bit of nasty there. He's 6'7". He's a lean 330 pounds. That's 330 pounds right there, Rico.
He looks solid.
I wouldn't have said 330. I had to do a double take. Am I looking at the right guy? 330, 7-foot wingspan with feet like that. Yeah, I like him. I don't think he's. You know how I felt about Spencer Brown. I'll wax poetic about Spencer Brown. I'm good in Irish. I can hold a grudge for a long time. So all those teams that passed on Spencer Brown 3 times, you screwed up. And I told you were going to screw up, and you screwed up. I don't think he's saying he's not the athlete that Spencer Brown is. Very few guys over 300 pounds are the athlete that Spencer Brown is. That's not a knock. But he can certainly play. That's for sure. I think Spencer Brown will actually help him, seeing how well he did coming from a smaller school like that. Like, whoa, I mean, it's a coaches for the most part are afraid to take a chance because if it backfires on them, they look stupid. It's like if they go by the book, well, I went by the book. They're afraid to take a chance. But once Spencer Brown comes out and does as well as he did, it's like, well, this guy was just as good as him at Northern Iowa. Yeah, we'll take him higher. So I think he'll benefit from how well Spencer did this year.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Based on the 2 days that you've been there, I bet you have hours of film. I can totally get you have hours of film. It's good luck breaking them all down and trying to set it up. And I implore every one of you guys to go and check out my man Scott's YouTube page. Link is in the description. Give him a follow if you're trying to make sure to know who is doing what and where. 2 prospects that stood out to you where you're like, okay, if they sleep on this man, problem for the league because he's going to be that good. Who stands out?
Spencer Brown this year?
Yes.
I think I don't know how well Jermaine Johnson was graded coming in. The defensive
That's another name I had on there. Talk on it.
The edge guy from Florida State, but he's my Spencer Brown this year, and I don't think you have to worry about him not going in the first round. He is, and there's some video. I've got some video on him. I just posted on my channel about an hour ago. Size, speed, tenacity, production, 70 tackles, 17 and a half tackles for loss this year at Florida State. Left Georgia because he wasn't getting the playing time.
I just dropped my man, Scott Kennedy. I'm going to have him back in. He was just on a roll too. So I'm going to get my man, Scott. Scott, come back in just a moment. But let me tell you something, man. Let me get Scott back in there. Sorry about that, Scott. I kicked you all back.
Tells me you were going to remove my file.
No, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep that because I want him to come in. And if you had that file for Jermaine, I was hoping
I do. Here, I've got the Jermaine file. I can put it on for you right here.
Please do.
Jermaine. And I started off. You can go ahead and I started off with this just because I like to give you a shot of who this guy is, his athleticism. Look at the way he bounces on his toes. He's 260 pounds. Look at him come around the corner.
These guys are freak athletes these days.
I refer to professional athletes like this as just a different caliber of human being. Here he is coming off the edge. I mean, that's 320 pounds that he just folded. Between
look at that.
And remember me talking about using your hands? He never got his hands on him. So
nope.
I didn't even have to get into the fight with you because I kept your hands off me completely. And for some reason, one of my favorite plays, it must be later on because I think this runs about 3 minutes. But he's got a Von Miller-like dip around the corner coming from this end in 1v1s, coming from the left end position against the right tackle, where he just ducks under the guy. And I didn't get his measurements, but he's got to be every bit of 6'4 plus 260. Every bit of it.
So I have
this
someone.
is a hold the edge drill. Look at the hands. Rico, run that back. I mean,
keep you back for me. I need to see this.
There we go. Look at his hands. This is another one where you never had a chance. I can run over you, around you, or through you if I want to, but you know what? I'm gonna jiu-jitsu you out of the way. That's filthy.
Now, Jermaine Johnson, where does he play?
I love this guy. He's edge, Florida State, and if you're talking David Ajabo, if you're talking George Karlaftis, and I don't know how into the weeds y'all get in the draft, if these are household names to your audience yet, but Michigan edge, Purdue edge, if you're talking Aiden Hutchinson, if you're talking Kayvon Thibodeau, you got to be talking about Jermaine Johnson. I see everything in him.
Love it.
The same way. So, and then on the other edge, Sam Williams was another edge there. He's a little bit different, a little bit leaner, kind of would glide around people. Went to Ole Miss. I think he had a sexual assault accusation that he's still working through that could affect his draft stock. He had 12 and a half sacks on 25 tackles last year at Ole Miss. And seeing some of these guys at the Senior Bowl, I'm like, oh, I'm starting to see why Lane Kiffin had a pretty good run at it this year because they were loaded. They had some pretty good guys, a couple of receivers down here, Matt Corral, the quarterback, an edge that can, you were talking about guys that can wipe out plays. You get one edge like that, he can end a play for you. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. So my two edge guys, those are the guys I'm most hyped about, Jermaine Johnson and Sam Williams.
I like it. And you were talking to your buddy Kendall. I think Nick Kendall.
Yep.
Nick Kendall. I like him. He's
Nick's great. Nick's in Seattle. Nick and I are both kind of sports geeks. We enjoy the draft process as much as we enjoy our teams. And growing up an Atlanta sports fan, I had to look to the draft for entertainment, especially at my age in the 80s. Go look at the Braves and the Falcons records in the 80s. They're god awful. I had to enjoy other teams. I had to enjoy the process. So we both enjoy the process as much or more than watching our own teams.
I appreciate it because he's a Broncos guy. And it's always interesting to hear your takes on that. Now, when I'm watching these drills, I'll speak on the receivers and cornerback drills. The advantage is by far to the receiver. The 100%. corner is not at an advantage whatsoever when it comes 100%. To pass.
Same with when you watch the one-on-ones. If you can get an offensive lineman that can even hold his own, who can look serviceable, he's probably pretty good.
Okay, so for the defense at this point,
because those drills are so skewed to the defense. And I had a big argument with a couple of former NFL defensive linemen because I'm like, I said, as compared to game situations, this is the most lopsided drill here. And they're like, no, the offense has the advantage. They know the snap count. I'm like, they know the snap count. You're missing what I said. They already know the snap count in game situations too. So that cancels each other out. It's always third and long. There's no back to chip you. There's no double teams. The guard gets out of the way. And, I could put a corner there and he'd be the best pass rusher at these drills because he's just going to run around these guys. So to your point, the flip side, the corners, if you can get a corner that can stay anywhere near a wide receiver, when he's got to cover a 55-yard wide field with no pass rush, no safety, no linebackers, no nothing, if he's athletic enough to even stay anywhere near a wide receiver, you got something. You got something.
Do you feel that people sleep on the Senior Bowl? It's a Senior Bowl, whatever. I'm really looking for those juniors coming out, those guys that are really about that life. Or should people be paying way more attention to Senior Bowl because that's where really good seasoned?
Rico, if they did sleep on them, they don't anymore because all 32 teams are here. There's probably 1,000 media in attendance. I don't know how many the the Bills took, but the Falcons took 5 players from the Senior Bowl last year. So it might not be the top 15 guys in the draft, which gets the 90-10 rule. The top 10 guys get 90% of the press. But if you're not filling out your team with your second and third day draft picks, if you miss on all those guys, you're not going to be very good. You've got to be able to get your depth and your cost control in there. If I can get a second round guy on a 4-year contract, under $1 million, I've got to get contributions from those guys. And frankly, again, looking down in Atlanta, when you've got so many gaping holes that they do on the roster,
y'all are a mess.
I could take 7 or 8 defensive linemen that would start for them right now down here. And that's not an exaggeration. They were that bad.
What can you? Is Jordan Davis? I think I'm saying his name right. Jordan Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Is the hype real around Jordan Davis?
It depends. It depends on where your level of hype is. Whenever anybody says that guy's overrated, Mike, I have a question. What do you rate him? What do you rate him? Someone say, well, Josh Allen's overrated. Well, what do you rate him? Well, someone's calling him the best quarterback of all time. Well, yeah, that might be a little too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Can Jordan Davis plug into a 3-4 turnkey and be an immediate impact player there? Yeah, he can.
Yep.
Can he play defensive tackle in a 4-3? Probably. Is he going to have to come off the field on 3rd and 2 or longer? Yeah, he will.
You think so?
So that becomes, he's not going to be the pass rusher there, but he can occupy 2 blockers. He can absolutely be a difference on first downs, or the 2nd and long, the 2nd and 10s where they run every single time. If they throw on first and incomplete, every offensive coordinator I've ever seen runs the ball on 2nd and 10. He can make a big difference there. He can free up the guys around you. Let's ask Nakobe Dean how much. Nakobe Dean's a linebacker for University of Georgia, who I absolutely love. This kid went to University of Georgia and graduates with an engineering degree in 3 years as a captain of a national championship football team.
Wow.
We can be boys. I love him and everything
Dean.
He brings.
I'm writing these names down.
He's a little undersized, and he's freed up because the guy in front of him's eating 2 or 3 guys up for him. So yeah, Jordan Davis, top 10, a little high for me considering his limitations as far as, okay, you're a 2-down player. But for what you're asking him to do, especially if you're in a 3-4, you can't do much better. However, Travis Jones, UConn, might be, or John Ridgeway, Arkansas,
Ridgeway.
might be Jordan Davis light, literally like 30 pounds lighter, but they're still 330. They're still 330 pounds. And you can get them maybe in the 2nd round.
Actually, Ridgeway, I got Ridgeway off of you guys. I was listening to you guys talk about Ridgeway. And I was like, okay, who's this Ridgeway guy? And I started doing my homework. I was like, this guy can play. I like this Ridgeway guy. So there are some guys that I'm looking forward to, especially because how deep the trenches is this year. That plays well into what Buffalo, in my opinion, what Buffalo needs. So
and I appreciate the comment. Devontae Wyatt is better than Jordan Davis. It depends. It does. If I'm running a 3-4 and I need a nose guard, it's Jordan Davis all day, every day. I love Devontae Wyatt. You were mentioning Winfrey. To me, of the interior alignment of the defensive tackles, Devontae Wyatt might have been my favorite one at Senior Bowl. I love him. I think he's incredible. But they're different. They're very different players. Even though one is a 4-3 D tackle and one's a 3-4 nose guard. They're as different as, they're very different players.
I got Antonio Diggins says it's going to be a lot of chances on this team for receivers, RBs, DLs, and then some players we've got to sign. So he's talking about our Bills team here. I'm going to go through some super chats.
Sure. Take care of business.
Rico, I feel we need another playmaker on the offensive side instead of the defensive side of the ball. We need another RB or receiver because after Diggs, it's a big drop-off. I don't know after a huge drop-off after Diggs. Nobody's a Diggs on the team, but to say it's a big drop-off when you just had Gabriel Davis go off for 25 yards of catch, 200 yards and 8 receptions. You've got a guy that's catching up. I don't want to say if it's a drop-off, but he's catching up. And then you got Dawson Knox that's coming on. So I can't say this is a big drop-off. But we do need some more playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I think we'll address that this offseason. But we're not that far off. We're scoring 30-plus points a game. Fellas, don't forget, your ultimate weapon is Josh Allen. That is weapon X. You know what I'm saying?
The concern there is I don't want to rely on Josh Allen running the ball all the time.
Agreed.
That will catch up to him sooner rather than later. And you're gonna, just like a running back, there's only so many many miles. There's only so much tread on that tire that I don't want him taking all those hits. Even though he seems to relish them now, he's a young buck now.
Yep.
But these guys are playing into their 40s.
Yes,
I want Josh Allen around for the next 15 years, not the next 5. So yeah, I can see where getting him some help at running back is going to be important. But you're not doing that in the first round, and maybe not even in the second round.
Well, here's the problem, Scott, because you just said that we're not going. I mean, you shouldn't go in the first, you shouldn't go in the second. I'm one of those guys that I'd be damned if I hear running backs are a dime a dozen. I can't stand it. I hate hearing that, because when you find yourself a gem of running back, you can't. It's hard to replace, right? And we drafted Devin Singletary in the 3rd. We drafted Zach Moss in the 3rd, and Zach Moss last year, I think he could even say it himself, it was a disappointment. It just didn't work out. I don't think we have that home run hitter. I don't think we have that guy that when you put him in, you don't have a Dalvin Cook on the squad. A guy like that can take it to the house, take it the distance anytime. But that's a luxury in our opinion.
Everybody says, "Oh, the running backs don't matter," until you got a good one or don't.
Yeah,
then you can tell. Then you can absolutely tell. Not everybody's got a 240-pound quarterback that is the best running back on the field. Not everybody's got one of those guys. And again, you don't want you want it to be a luxury, not a necessity, that he can run the ball when he needs to. You don't want him to always need to run the ball.
I'll say this. I have my friend Alex here. Alex is such a fool. Do they measure thigh girth for players' profiles? Alex, maybe you can carve out a niche. Go to the Senior Bowl and offer to measure thigh girth and see.
Just for uniforms. Just for uniforms. Now, the Falcons had a couple of guys that needed special pants. Both running backs. I don't remember if you remember Jamal Anderson. They called him Fat.
This boy's thighs were massive.
And then Michael Turner, when he came over from San Diego, had to get his jeans custom ordered because of the way they were built. So
this guy a bubble butt.
Their tailors are measuring their thigh girth.
That is something else. But I love the comment that about Wyatt. So if it's Jordan Light, if you will, then so be it. That's what it's Devontae Wyatt. I love the fact
for my Jordan Light was Travis Jones.
Okay.
And John Ridgeway. Devontae's straight 4-3 defensive tackle, or maybe, again, when you're running a 3-4, your ends are 300 pounds.
True.
So, he's athletic enough to be out there and play an end. But again, then you're just using him a 3-4 defensive lineman as a SOB job. I already know, we're on Google and they give us ratings and all kinds of stuff for language. It's I'm going to hold down blockers, and the linebackers and edge guys are going to get all the glory. It sucks.
It does.
I don't want Devontae Wyatt as a 3-4 end. I want him as a 4-3 defensive tackle where you can take advantage of his quickness and his penetration.
Love that. Are you my man Joshua Richardson? And I'm not familiar with draft prospects. I'm learning as we go. But it says, "What's up, Rico? We should look at Tariq Wallen and Christian Watson. They both run 4.34. So this big thing, Scott, is that we are looking to match up with the likes of the Kansas City Chiefs because of guys like Tariq Hill, Pringle, McCarl Holdman. These boys can run, and if you have DBs that can match that speed, you're better for it. And I think that our team feels we just don't have the speed to match up with these guys. I mean, you saw Tariq Hill just caught a ball and zoom, he was gone. Nobody was catching him. But that's the whole league. Nobody's as fast as that man. But are you familiar? And I know that you've been paying attention to a lot of these guys, and a lot of these guys may not be on the radar as of right now. But Tariq Wallen or Christian Watson? Anything?
So I did not. I don't know Wallen. I haven't seen him play, but I saw Christian Watson at Senior Bowl, and he's a unit. If he's running 4.34 at 6'4", 215, I'll be shocked. I really will be.
That's amazing.
I like him thinking on the eye test. He's a 4.6 guy with his kind of size and hands and strength. That's fast enough. With the enough factor, the bigger you are, the least fast you have to be. There's kind of a sliding scale there. If you're Tyreek Hill size, you better run like Tyreek Hill. You can't be a 4.65 guy at his size. But if I'm Akeem Talib as a 6'2 corner, I can run in the 4.6s and play in the NFL. So
instincts.
I love Christian Watson. I thought he looked great. His hands, it's just one of those where the ball just sticks. It hits him and it just sticks.
Love it.
At 6'4", let's see what kind of reach. He's got 77-inch wingspan, so 6'5", so just right out of his height. That makes him kind of,
Holy
average
crap.
for this. But yeah, he looked good down there. So down in Mobile. I'm back in Atlanta now, so he looked good in Mobile for sure.
Love it. Now, we're gonna move away from the draft talk because I need your opinion on this, and I Bills fans need your opinion on this. I need you to wipe that smirk off your face because I want you to give me all the goods. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get right into it. Joe Brady. We have brought in Joe Brady as our new quarterback coach. Why? Because Brian Daboll has taken the head coaching job for the New Jersey Giants. Yeah, I won't call them New York. They're New Jersey Giants. And we have now opening at offense coordinator. Well, guess what? The opening didn't last long because we've actually promoted our guy, Ken Dorsey, which then opens up the quarterback room. And we bring in former OC, 1.5 year coaching time with the Carolina Panthers under coach Matt Rule, which looks like a complete disheveled bum. Can't take accountability, just blaming other people, all that in a press conference. I'm not interested. And I think he's lost a lot of people for the Panthers, and I'm surprised he still has a job. But anyway, nonetheless, Joe Brady, fired by Matt Rule, is now the quarterback coach for the Buffalo Bills. Your thoughts on Joe Brady? Are you familiar with Joe Brady?
I am. And Rico, who hired Joe Brady with Carolina Panthers?
Matt Rule.
And what's the first rule of management? It's always your fault.
It is.
How are you going to blame? You hired him.
You hired him, and then you let him go.
You hired him.
We're moving
away.
All
right. So I hate the word privilege. I really do. I think it's thrown around just willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's awfully hard to deny it when you look at a guy whose claim to fame was getting coffee for Sean Payton and then has a nice year with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson at LSU, where you're out-talenting everybody on the field except Alabama. And then even at that point, with those three guys on offense, it's pretty good. To getting head coaching interviews. What the hell, Rico?
It makes no sense.
What have you done?
See what's happening right now. You see what's happening all over the league right now. Everybody's, people of color.
Any deniers out there? Here's your poster boy.
Yes.
So he flops in Carolina. Maybe his fault, maybe he wasn't. But
time out. Before he flops in Carolina, let's talk about the time that he had in LSU. Was he the reason that Joe Burrow became Joe Brr, or was it just chance? He just.
So what do you think? Could if I'm offensive coordinator and I get out I print out my plays from NCAA 2005 or whenever they did that, I'm calling plays for that team. Who was a running back? They've always got dudes at LSU.
Always.
And again, that Ed Orgeron won a national championship, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you all you need to know about the coaching. God bless Ed Orgeron, but this was a Jimmy's and Joe's, for goodness sakes, literally in the case of Joe Burrow. So I'm not saying Joe Brady can't coach.
Okay.
I'm saying he got opportunities that he hadn't earned. Big time.
Speak on
Big
it.
time. So you're going over to Carolina after getting head coaching interviews, and you're probably a little big-headed.
Right.
A little bit.
Probably.
He's super young, and this search for the next Sean McVay led you to try and turn this guy into something he wasn't. At least not yet.
Too soon.
Now, by that same token, I felt very similar about Lane Kiffin when he was that age. Lane Kiffin was a 33-year-old punk kid whose dad gets him into the league. And Lane, I asked a friend of mine that coached for him, that worked for him. I said, he strikes me as a guy who, he's born on third base and thought he hit a triple. He's like, yeah, that's him. So
I like that.
Lane has matured. He's still kind of an ass, but he's honest about it. You know, he's matured after being humbled, big time being humbled. So I kind of like Lane now. I think Joe Brady may have needed some humbling. I think going back and getting a demotion from, I'm going from head coaching interviews to getting fired after flopping miserably in Carolina to being a quarterback's coach could be the best thing in the world for him. Now, Rico, bringing up that P word again.
Yep.
After he coaches Josh Allen,
Yep.
Josh Allen doesn't need Joe Brady. Joe Brady needs Josh Allen.
Hey, speak on it.
We're going to have Joe Brady in the talk for all of these positions again. Look at the magic he's done with Joe. With come on, man.
No, and what's going to piss me off even more and piss a lot of people off is you've got some quality candidates that should be getting jobs, and then you'll have a guy like Joe Brady up for head coaching gig in the next couple years.
Yeah, you should send some kickback, about a quarter of your salary to whoever your quarterback was.
I'm telling you.
Because so like I said, I'm not saying he can't coach. I'm saying I don't know if he can or not. There isn't any track record of him doing it, honestly. Show me what you can do with Sam Darnold. You want to impress me? Coach Sam Darnold into being Joe Burrow. That'll impress me.
Right. So why do you think they let him go? Why do you think Matt Rule let him go? Like, I don't get it. Was there philosophical differences? I think I heard that Matt Rule was wanting to run the ball more, but Joe Brady was like, yo, I'm all about the pass. I'm all about throwing the rock.
You don't do that in the middle of a season. You know, and again, unless you are a super arrogant 30-something-year-old punk kid,
yeah,
and you're a new head coach who's struggling, and I've got people telling me, say, dude, you probably take his job. They'll probably hire you. Damn. You know, undermining him. You can see some of that. Now, it's pure speculation on my part, but frankly, Rico, if you look for the worst, you're usually not going to be too far off. What do people have to gain? So again, I think this could be the best thing for Joe Brady. It's just going to annoy me when I start hearing his name again next year about what a great job he did with Josh Allen. Josh Allen doesn't need Joe Brady.
Facts, and more facts.
So this guy walks into a job because who did he know on the staff? Who's sharing an agent with Joe Brady that he gets hired for this job?
I'm curious. I gotta find out. I don't know what the connection is. I mean,
the
connection that
because he didn't get hired based on merit. It's all connections, and this is the problem we're running into. And all right, I won't go on my soapbox too much for this, but it's a problem when you've got a closed league. This league is a monopoly. Rico, you and I could start a soccer team in England tomorrow, and we could play our way to the top tier. We could win our way into the top tier. You and I are not going to buy our way into the NFL. It's impossible. Can't do it. When you've got a monochromatic league run by a monopoly, this is the kind of crap you get constantly. The same circular. It's a mafia, man. I said these guys are made men. Vic Fangio will have a job. Pat Shermer will have a job. These guys have been fired half a dozen times are in the club.
Listen, don't get me started on this because a lot of people don't want me to get started on this whole nonsense that's happening in the league right now with my man Brian Flores and all that mess. All these quality coaches not getting Listen, we have 5 vacancies open right now, and I would be very interested to see who gets hired for these damn positions. It'll be interesting. I mean, these black coaches, man, they're getting dogged. One coach in the NFL right now, Mike Tomlin, and he's on the team where the Rooney Rule freaking exists. And that's why it exists. Anyways, we'll see how it plays out. There's still hope.
I love Mike Tomlin. I love him. I know the Steelers fan. There was I think it was Tommy Tuberville when he was coaching at Auburn University. Said you lose 10% of your support every year that you're at a place. And you see that Mike Tomlin people are starting to turn. The Steelers fan, if they haven't already, they've turned on Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin would be out of work for this long. Long.
Well, we don't know how that. Listen. If he were to be let go for some reason, you're right. He wouldn't be out of work for a long time. He's earned it. I mean, what is he? 15 years in with the Steelers? Something crazy.
I mean, what is it? 16 years without a losing season? Are you joking? My Atlanta Falcons went 45 without back-to-back winning years. Mike Tomlin would be a god in this city.
Speaking of your Atlanta Falcons, what are you going to do with your quarterback Matt Ryan?
Ryan?
What has he got? Another year left on his contract, I think?
He's got 2. So it depends on how much dead cap money they want to eat because he's got a $40 million dead cap number this year. That number drops down to about 17 in a year. So I think you play one more year with Matt Ryan and then you move on. If they get crazy and someone offers him something, because his base salary isn't that much. It's like 16 million.
But you know what though? I'm gonna tell you, somebody was giving me numbers on Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has numbers that has surpassed Hall of Fame quarterbacks that are in the Hall of Fame right now. Right? Problem is, he hasn't won anything. And I swear, if he won that Super Bowl against the Patriots, he could be talked about potential in the future.
All he did was throw for about 350 yards and 4 touchdowns.
He did his job, right? And right now, you mentioned Matt Ryan. I don't think you're mentioning you're not mentioning Hall of Fame yet. But had he won, he's got it. But anyway, it's going to be tricky.
I think his numbers are going to be so staggering. I mean, he's going to be top 5 in several categories. I mean, I think he's got a chance. He's already moved into the top 10 in yards and all this type of things.
Crazy.
He could go 2 or 3 more years. And again, I like to tell people, we're not talking about the Dallas Cowboys or the New England Patriots or the Green Bay Packers. We're talking about the Atlanta freaking Falcons. If someone did that in Detroit, a similar type of franchise, and had this type of numbers, you'd say, actually, they did. Matthew Stafford is a phenomenal quarterback, one of the best arms I ever scouted, and he's never been to a Pro Bowl. Are you joking?
Oh, man. But speaking of Super Bowl, who do you got?
Who do I have? God, I'm afraid to say it now after and yes, I don't care if it's not the reason why the Bills lost, but the overtime rule still sucks. I don't care. When I say that, and people are like, well, the Bills should, the Bills needed to play defense. I'm like, I didn't mention that the Bills, that's why they lost the game.
Let's get into that. I need your opinion.
Get your fair ups.
Before we get to Super Bowl, let's go. I know it's going to open up some wounds for.
I picked the Bills to beat the Chiefs. Remember? So
I did too. I think we all did. And then what happened. When you're watching that game, are you like, what in the heck is happening? 2 minutes of football that's been crazy back and forth. What were your thoughts watching that game?
When I was watching the game, I get on the rule changes. I'm turning into the get off my lawn guy. All the rule changes have turned this league into a 7-on-7, and I watch the Big 12 and these guys run up 120-point games because they just flat out don't play defense anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that the rule changes have made it so you really can't play defense. Watching that game, I'm saying this isn't on the defense. The way that these two quarterbacks are playing, I don't care who's playing defense. The 85 Bears are having trouble stopping these guys tonight. Just phenomenal. And we were robbed of a chance to see
I know
the head-to-head for each player to get his turn until one of them blinked. We were robbed of that chance because of crappy rules.
Absolutely.
And that sucks. That just sucks. So don't like it, didn't like it. I don't like the fact that when you're in a game like that, the defenses are so gassed that it's over at the coin flip. I mean, how many points were scored in the last 2 minutes? Okay, so basically, did anybody stop anybody? No.
A lot of people want to talk about
the coin flip. The coin flip decided whoever won that coin toss was going to win because nobody was stopping anybody at that point.
Hold on, Scott. 13 seconds.
Yeah, that's where you lost the game. That's where you lost the game.
But where did we lose it? Was it a decision making?
Too soft. Came out too soft. Anybody that says squib kick hasn't watched Matt Ryan. If you squib kick from the 30, you got a bank of players 10 yards away. You got another bank 10 yards behind them. If the clock doesn't start until the ball is touched, and it doesn't have to start at all if you down it right away. So if I don't get it past that first line of defenders with a squib, they're falling on the ball on the 40 or the 50 with 13 seconds left, and it's a 15-yard out, and it's game over. So a squib kick was not the right answer there. I said immediately, if you can kick it out of the end zone, you do. You don't want to give them a chance to recover. Now, can you kick it high enough so that it drops so they have to field? They can still fair catch it. To do that, they're still going to get it on the 25. Yep. So kicking it deep out of the end zone was the right thing. But the first play on defense was almost to protect a Hail Mary. You gave away 25 yards on the first play. Gave it away. That's where you lost the game.
We should fire Sean McDermott, shouldn't we? Let me tell you, there are people saying, fire Sean McDermott. He's the worst. Game management. Leslie Frazier's the
that's where the game was lost. The game was over at the coin toss. The game was lost the first play after you kicked it off back to the Chiefs.
That was brutal. It was brutal, and I'm glad you spoke on that, because a lot of people that are still not over that game. It's tough, man. As a Bills fan, you want
Do a
your
28-3 and come. Oh, see, that's why we got a kindred spirit with Buffalo. As being an Atlanta Braves fan, who's lost more postseason than the Braves, the Bills. I know how you feel. I do. 4 in a row where you finally get to the third one, you don't want to watch. You get to the fourth one and you don't watch.
Yeah,
And
it's
people,
bad. It's bad.
By the time you'd lost 4 straight playoffs game, the Braves, by the time they've been, lost their 4 straight years in the playoffs, they weren't selling out playoff games anymore, and people are giving them hell. I'm like, we were second in the league in attendance.
Crazy.
Behind the Dodgers. We're support this team. I just don't want to go see them choke away another NLCS or division series.
How sick were you when the Patriots came back and just took the?
The thing is, the first one they scored that first touchdown, that first swing. As being a lifelong Atlanta sports fan, you're like, no, can't.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Not really. And then Julio makes that one catch. You're like, all right. The dude bailed us out.
Yeah.
That's it. Julio, for as much crap as I've given, Thomas Dimitroff for making that pick. Remember, the Falcons were 13-3 and had just given up 15 points to the Packers. Had just given up 50 points to the Packers and didn't make them punt. And their solution to that was to trade 5 picks for a wide receiver. That was stupid. Julio Jones was great, but this was a 13-3 team with Matt Ryan, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, Michael Turner, and all these weapons. That was stupid. But he just came in. It's like, well, Scott, if they could have played better, he would have just won us a Super Bowl. All right, I can go back and forth with you on that all day. But yeah, Julio came up and made the play, then a holding penalty and a sack, and they got a punt. It's just like, come on, man. So any one of 100 things goes a different way. That game was impossible to lose. But
Atlanta
they Falcon
won the Super Bowl.
Michael says the Braves just won the World Series. I don't want to hear it. Me neither, Michael. We're done. You can't hurt me with 28-3 anymore. You can't. That one hurt. The Braves, after 1995, after all these years, they put a fun team out there, and they went out and just took it, and it was really fun to watch. I don't know how much y'all watch baseball, but that home run that Soler hit was just mammoth. And to drop the bat, turn into the dugout and pound his chest, and nobody said a word of it because he hit the ball out of the stadium. It's like, dude, you hit the ball to the moon, you can take all the time you want circling the bases.
My man Pierre Kingpin loves your quote. The game was over at the coin toss, but lost in the 13 seconds. Scott Kennedy with a bomb, with a gem. I will say this though. When those 4 Super Bowls, I mean, people keep mentioning it, and I keep telling people this, man. The minute we win our Super Bowl, it wipes away all the crap that we talk that people want to talk about. Just like you talked about Atlanta Braves winning that one, you
can't hurt me anymore.
Well, I tell you right now, the Bills win a Super Bowl, you cannot hurt us anymore. We're it's over with. It's over with. So Scott, before I let you go, I need a Super Bowl prediction. I'm probably gonna have you.
That's right.
Yeah.
I promised one of my Broncos family friends that we do the show on Mile High Huddle. We do Broncos for breakfast. If you want to come in and say hi, we do it. The YouTube channel Mile High Huddle. We're on in the mornings. We talk a lot of draft. He's from Cincinnati, and I've picked against Cincinnati every single game. And I said I'm going to keep it up. But I'll tell you what, I watched the LA Rams struggle with San Francisco. And San Francisco, the Bengals on defense are a mirror image of what San Francisco does well. And the Bengals have a quarterback. They've got their own Joe Cool. They got beat by Joe Cool twice in the 80s. They're bringing their own Joe Cool this time. I'm a Sean McVay fan. I covered him in high school. Nice. Yes, I'm that old, and he is that young. Went to Marist High School, not too low from here. Watched him play as a state championship quarterback. Love Sean McVay.
How tall is McVay?
I love Matthew Stafford. I went and watched him in Texas play high school. Love Matthew Stafford, so I like those guys. But I promised my Broncos friend that I'd keep picking against the Cincinnati Bengals. And frankly,
Scott, don't do that.
If the Rams play at their best, I think they've got more talent. I do on both sides of the ball. Aaron Donald can take over a game by himself. Mm-hmm. Matthew Stafford can take over a game by himself. But they better show better than they did against the 49ers defense if they're going to win this game.
My man Pierre Kimpis says he's a big fan of the Mile High Huddle.
It's a good group of guys over there.
They're very smooth. Actually, we learned. Funny enough, that we learned quite a few from them. Actually, this very site that we're on right now, they're the one who kind of gave us the plug. I was like, hey, this is how you got to do it. We're like, oh, okay.
Chad's great. Chad Jensen runs Mile High Huddle, and he is all about community. Is not the right word for us, but listen, how can I help you, Rico? What can I do? And one day you'll help me by bringing me on this show, and we'll work together. Yeah. We're stronger together. And Mile High Huddle is a great group. Chad Jensen's first class.
You know what? You just said something that you said, how can I help you? It's so tough in content media, content creator media, because everyone's trying to be better than that guy, or I want more views than you. I want this. And it's too competitive, and you got to be a different cat to say, yo, I don't care about that. How can I help you?
The way I see it, Rico, is for me, you don't have to lose for me to win. It's not a zero-sum game. If I'm successful and I'm happy with what I'm doing, then more power to you. God bless. Yep. You don't have to fail for me to succeed. If I'm succeeding, I hope you succeed too. Great.
Yep. But there's not a lot of people reaching out and saying, hey man, I noticed that you're doing this. This is how you should do it. Because they're like, I can't give them any edge. I want all the edge, and the edge stays with me. It's just that's how crazy this game is. It's just what it is. It is what it is. But I would like to take a page from Chad's, because at the end of the day, man, my success should not impede your success. I do what I got to do. You do what you got to do. Whatever works for you, works for you. And that's the way I look at it. But it is what it is. So you're going to pick against the damn Bengals, huh? Shame on you. Do you have a score prediction?
Oh, golly, it's strange. You feel like the Rams have the offense to do it. They've got the weapons, but they couldn't move the ball consistently against the 49ers. Couldn't do it.
No. Matthew Stafford will be Matthew Stafford. I just hope he's not Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl. He's got his moment.
Matthew Stafford, again, being a good player for Detroit, Megatron, Calvin Johnson is arguably the best receiver of all time. You just might not know it as much because it's in Detroit.
Yeah.
Find me another instance where you've got arguably, and I think Matthew Stafford's got a generational arm. I really do. I compared him coming out to my benchmark arms for arm strength for John Elway and Brett Favre. Matthew Stafford is in that league, and he can sling it from any position, off one foot, leaning this way, falling back. He can get velocity on the ball. He's amazing.
He's got an arm.
Didn't win anything in Detroit. Calvin Johnson leaves early. One of the most physically gifted human beings to ever walk this earth. Barry Sanders. If it weren't for Tony Dorsett, that's my age. Barry Sanders might be my favorite all-time running back. I mean, just amazing. One of the best ever.
This is why you're my buddy. Friend of the show. Barry Sanders is one of the greatest. He's my favorite. I grew up watching Barry Sanders. That's my guy. Love him.
And they didn't win anything. So he didn't win anything. It doesn't hold as much water. Again, growing up in the 80s, Dan Marino was a pretty good quarterback. He didn't win anything either. And if you were a basketball fan between 88 and 96, you didn't win anything while Michael Jordan was playing either. There were some pretty good players that came away ringless. That didn't make him any worse players.
There are some errors. Look at the Bills haven't won anything and haven't won. I mean, for 20 years, they were behind Tom Brady. Tom Brady robbed us from any type of success. I mean, we weren't very good either, but he robbed us from any type of success of trying to do anything. He was like, no, not happening.
Yeah, you had kind of a Michael Jordan in your own division, didn't you?
Absolutely. It was terrible. So now that he's out, maybe we are now.
He got to play a lot longer at that level.
I hope that we are the Michael Jordan and the Kansas City Chiefs are the Detroit Pistons, and they're giving it to us until we say no mas. Build put a few more pieces together, and then we become the Bulls. And I'm a Laker
boys. You went back to back. You got your back to back. Now it's our turn.
Thank you. This is what I'm trying to say.
Rico, I haven't watched the NBA basically since then. I watched all of that until about 98 when the owners locked out only 25 years old, and the owners locked out the NBA players. I was pissed. I'm like,
Forbes says you're
billionaire boys clubs locking out these players and telling them they can't play because you want to squash them in a monopoly league. I was pissed, and I really didn't get back into the NBA after that. I watched 12 years, for 13 years from the Dr. J 76ers through basically the beginning of the Kobe Shaq era is when I watched, and then Kobe and Shaq were so dominant, and didn't like them that I turned out.
Scott, you're a hater. You're a hater. Why are you hating on Kobe and my guy Shaq? Listen, stop it. We're
I
gonna
like Shaq. It was the other guy that I didn't like as much.
Kobe's my guy. Don't even hate my man Kobe. Kobe. So my man Richard Forbes says you're not even old enough to know what Tornado said. You know? Oh, he's talking about me. Listen, man. Listen, Richard. There's something called YouTube. YouTube will give you everything you need to know about that. So I'm gonna keep it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, Scott, always a pleasure. You coming on the show and chopping it up. It's always fun. We need to do this more often. And one of these days, I'm going to join your show on the morning show. I love the fact that you do morning shows. I think it's really cool.
No, we'll do some more. I'm going to start doing some more on my channel. We'll start doing some draft stuff, and when we do previews and stuff, you'll be my Bills guy. And anything else you want to do? I mean, I know you're not just a Bills fan. There's more to Rico than Bills. There has to be.
I love the NFL. I love my Bills, but I'm trying to venture off and expand the horizons. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes time to talk football, you let me know what I'm talking about. I'll do my research and I'll bring the heat.
I look forward to it. I appreciate y'all having me on, and as always, thank you for the warm welcome, Bills Mafia. I'd love to be in here.
Hold on, Scott Kennedy, because we're not going to let you leave without me plugging where to find Scott Kennedy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, with my 230 guests watching right now from Facebook and YouTube, do me a favor. It is in the description. All you have to do is click that link and subscribe to his page. I'm telling you right now, you won't be sorry. The footage is there. The analysis is there. And if you're not an evening person, you like morning shows, jump on it. My guy, Scott Kennedy's got a cup of hot Java, talking some Atlanta, Denver, Bills, you name it. He's talking football. So do me a favor. Go and follow my man, Scott Kennedy, on his YouTube channel. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my guy, Scott. Scott, thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Look forward to being back.
You got it, buddy. That's my guy, Scott Kennedy. Great dude. I enjoy having Scott on the show, man. Scott he's just like a wealth of knowledge for like everything. He's not just, and the fact that he's an Atlanta sports fan. So power went out. I just got a big flash of the power going out of my place. So we have a big ass storm in Nova Scotia. Let me tell you something, man. When you live in Nova Scotia, man, I'm still trying to get used to this weather out here. So, fam, it went poof, and here I am. So the power went somewhat back on, so it flashed. So I had to go back on. I had to just go on my phone. So, anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. At that, man, folks. Listen, head out and check out my man Scott's page. Good dude, dope dude, knows his information, knows his stuff about these prospects that are coming out, and you guys won't be sorry.
Good as dude, man, for real. And so go and check out my man's page. And this power that's going out right now, it's flickering off and on. You probably didn't see it, but it's happening right now. But anyways, no, now my computer's booted back on. But listen, that's most of. I'm gonna try to get back on here from my phone, and let's see if it worked. Yeah, we out. Scroll back on. Here we go.
There it is. So back at it. I don't know what the heck happened. It's just boom. Power just went off and we back at it. So here's the deal, man. This is Joe Brady. I wanted to jump on this before. It's supposed to be snow. It's supposed to be rain. It's supposed to do a whole bunch of stuff, man. When you live in Nova Scotia, man, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get. I'm still getting used to it. I'm from Ontario. You know what I'm saying? We just know it's brick cold. You get a flurry of snow. That's it. Here, rain. This Joe Brady situation, I'm concerned because he's going to be the quarterback's coach. I get that part. But the problem with him is he got let go because of some kind of differences between him and Matt Rule. Matt Rule wanted to run the ball more, and my man did not want to. He wanted to throw the football, but you didn't have the people to do it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have the quarterbacks to do it. You went with a slew of bad quarterbacks. So maybe this is where he resurrects his career and Josh Allen becomes the best version of himself under Ken Dorsey and Joe Brady. I'm looking forward to it, but I hope it doesn't make our run game suffer even more. This is going to be very interesting, and I'm hoping that Ken Dorsey is more of a balanced mind. But we'll soon find out. We won't know. Brian Daboll is out. This was a Brian Daboll run offense. Now this is going to be the Ken Dorsey run offense. What is he going to bring to the table? I'm super curious as to how this is going to play out. I had another guest that was supposed to come on, a Panthers guest, but at the end of the day, he's dealing with. I mean, if you guys know what's going on in Ontario, there's a commute that's happening. There's a convoy that's happening, and he's stuck in traffic behind all these pickup trucks and 5 tons and all that stuff. So he can't get home because he's stuck. He just sent me a message. So we're gonna try to get him on another day to talk about this this Joe Brady situation. I'm not gonna sit here and hate on Joe Brady. Not gonna do it. I'd love to know more about him. All I do know is that he came from LSU when LSU had a monster year. Joe Brady was his quarterback. Chase was his receiver. Like Justin Jefferson, like dude had a bevy of offensive firepower at his will. Well, welcome to the freaking LSU Bills. You got Josh Allen. You got freaking Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox. You know what I mean? You got some offensive weapons. So get Josh to be the best version of himself, and we'll take it. We will take it, but we'll see. Somebody said, hold on, Brady is an effing lighter version of Daboll. I don't know. We'll see, man. We shall see. Hopefully he learned from his mistakes in Carolina, because Carolina, I guess, I mean, look, man, you had Sam Darnold, you had freaking PJ Walker, you had Cam Newton. Like, a lot of people would ask, what do you want me to do with that? You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Now you're coming to an upper tier talent in Josh Allen. So I need you to tap into something that he hasn't been able to tap into, right? But Josh Allen is as good as it gets right now. He is on fire, and he's about to enter into his prime. He's not even in his prime yet. Josh Allen's about to enter into his prime. And for those that think that where the window is now shut or it's just not as open because of all these changes, no. When your quarterback is about to go into his prime, step into his prime, fam, the window just is just as wide. It's just as wide. And hopefully there's something that Joe Brady brings to the table, Ken Dorsey brings to the table that gets us over the hump. It would have been cool to win the whole thing with Brian Daboll in that crew. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been there the whole time. But out with the old, in with the new. And hopefully this is the move that needs to be made in order for us to get over the hump. But we can't get over the hump unless we get the pieces that we need. And the pieces that we need or on the defensive side of the ball, and that's in the trenches. So I'll be sure to I'm gonna start to try to get some video and do some prospects, right? Maybe a couple clips, talk on the prospects, and then go from there and get some guests to come on and go from there. We're just gonna try to we'll figure things out as we go. And when you don't know too much about certain things, you bring on the experts to talk about it. So if I don't know anything about certain things and certain players, guess what? I'm gonna get somebody that does, and we won't talk about it. We're gonna chop it up, and we'll go from there. So that's it for me, folks. I don't want to sit on this thing. I would love to go longer, but I don't want to sit on this thing where I get cut out again, because y'all already know me. I hate that. My Wi-Fi is looking good right now. I don't know. Maybe I needed that surge. Maybe that lightning. I said lightning. Maybe that the power outage actually fixed my Wi-Fi. Who knows? But your boy's rolling right now. Anyway, but I will take comments, questions, concerns in the chat before I get out of here, and we'll go from there. My man Michelle Holloman says, "Yo, hey Rico, I just followed you on Twitter. It's about time, folks. If you guys are not following me on Twitter, do me a favor. You see this right here, right there, at Mr. Rico _BF. That's where you can find me on Twitter. And I talk my shit on Twitter, and I go off. I have my fun. So be sure to hit me up. My man Triple OG John Yotis, what up, John? Says, yo, I lived in Wichita Falls, Texas during the 70s. My Bills weren't exactly good, so I got exposed to the Cowboys. Ooh, I feel sorry for you, man. Staubach, Dorsett, Johnson, etc. Watched the Tom Landry show before every game. Hated the company. Hated the company. John Yotis, the fact that you were in Texas territory, shame. I feel bad for you, buddy. I feel bad for you, but I'm sure it was fun to watch the Cowboys back in the day, where they were the America's team, right? So I'm sure it was pretty fun. Thanks for coming on through, Scott. Always enjoy your takes. Richard Forbes, he's a good dude, man. So do me a favor, man. You guys check out his YouTube page. He's got a good page. He's got good content, really good content. So be sure to check that out for sure. Somebody said Scott was so good he broke the internet. Yeah, man, he did something to me, man. He definitely did something. But yo, Scott came in with some hot takes, man. I love it. He dropped some interesting things about the Bills game and Joe Brady. I don't think he's a fan of Joe Brady. I feel he thinks Joe Brady is a product of just being in the right place, right time, and didn't really earn anything. He was just there, right? That's that P word, that privilege word he's saying. So it's something. It is definitely something, man. Juan Castillo, I see you, kid. Juan Castillo says, yo, you're the man, Rico. I appreciate that, guys. I really do. John Yoda says, yo, Ronald, I was in the falls of 77 to 79. We left at the tornado in April 79. Golly, when I say John's a triple OG, man, he is a triple OG. I love the fact that we have viewers that range from being in their teens, even 14 to 15, 16, 17-year-olds, all the way up to, 60, 65-year-olds, 70-year-olds. I had my father-in-law watch a full NFL game for the first time in his lifetime, and it happened to be the Chiefs game and the Bills game, and he is forever a fan now, right? The other day, he called me. He's like, hey, man, what the hell? The Bengals beat the Chiefs? He doesn't know anything about the Bengals. But he's like, the Bengals beat the Chiefs? That must be disappointing to you. And I was like, hey, man, it is what it is. I'm over it. I'm indifferent. Bengals or not. But you do want the Bengals to win, but I also want Stafford to win. So it's weird. And Aaron Donald, I want him to win one. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you just want a good game. Between these two teams, you just want a really good game. That's the way I look at it. But Rico, it wasn't off. It was a prevent defense in the last 13 seconds. Yeah, it definitely was a prevent defense. We didn't play that well. We didn't play that well at all. Jonah Williams coming in hot from Okinawa, Japan. Woo! What's up, man? What's happening? All the way from Japan. I like that. I like that a lot. What do we got here? My man Don Draper says, yo, do you see Gronk coming back to Buffalo for a retirement season? Yeah, Pierre's gonna want to hear me say this. Well, here's the deal, right? I personally am not a fan of Gronkowski. I'm not a fan. I don't like his antics. I don't like his jokes. I don't like his face. I don't like anything about Gronkowski. He's like he to me is the Kevin Durant of the NBA, right? And I'm somewhat warming up to Kevin Durant, but I think Kevin Durant's a big asshole. He's a big tough guy, fake tough guy type of dude, right? And Kevin Durant, I'm a fan of his game, love his game. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not a fan of him. And there's a lot of people that are not a fan of Kobe Bryant or not a fan of LeBron James. When LeBron James came to my Lakers, I was happy about it because I like LeBron. But if I hated LeBron, I'd be like, ugh. Like Kevin, my man Papa Peck, loves the Lakers. He's a Laker fan like I am, but he cannot stand LeBron James. So when you can't stand someone, you got to root for him. You're in a tough spot. But Gronkowski to the Bills, oh man, like why do we need Gronkowski? Like, do we need him? And then and my man Bobby would say, "Listen, are you in your feelings? Or are you trying to win a championship? Like which is? You can't be both. You can't be in your feelings and try to win a championship. If you want to win a championship, get out of your feelings and do what you have to do to get that championship." But Gronkowski to Buffalo, just because he's a native of Buffalo, and people are gonna feel you're gonna feel some type of way. But yo, if I can't stand a dude, like I'm playing on a team, all right, and there was a dude I just cannot stand in the league because he personally did something to me. He tried to kill my ass, right? And all of a sudden my team goes to sign him, and I got to deal with this guy when I personally don't like him. It's gonna create a rift. Do you want that? We're a tight nucleus of a team, and then this guy comes on. Like I don't know, it doesn't mess up the locker room, or do you want to win? Well, I think someone would value the locker room rather than having someone just to come in and maybe help us win. Maybe, because it's not guaranteed if you bring in a guy like Gronkowski. So for me personally, I'm out on Gronkowski. Don't care for him. I can get production elsewhere. I'm sure I can find production just like him elsewhere. Shout out to my guy, the ref says, "Yo, Rico, I always try to imagine how crazy the post game report on Buffalo Fanatics would be if we won a Super Bowl." Oh my gosh. Let me tell you something. It would be insane. It would be if we won the freaking Super Bowl, I would not be able to contain myself. I really could not contain myself. I would go and find my most expensive. I would tell you right now, I'd find my mostly. I got this bamboo rum that I paid like $45 for. It was like 50. I think I paid like $50. No, what am I saying? I think I paid $85 for that bottle. $85 for this bamboo rum that I got up there. I'll crack that boy open and let's go. You feel me? And I'm not a drinker. I'm not much of a drinker. The fact that I have an 80 bottle of rum is crazy to me. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I would lose my shit. I would absolutely lose my shit if we had the opportunity to win the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I would definitely do that. Somebody said losing messes the locker room more. Losing messes the locker room more. Of course it does. You start losing and you're not about that. Amy Wagner says, "Truth, Gronk, welcome to my world. Not a snowball's chance." Thank you very much, Amy. I'm not effing with that guy at all, not one bit. And I like a lot of people. He's not one of them. He definitely is not one of them. No, thank you. Good riddance. Don Draper says, I'm just looking at it from your point of view on when OBJ was available. It's an opportunity to make your team better, but I get why people wouldn't want him. You know what? But you're right. You want to make your team better, and you're not Don Draper. You're totally right with that. I'm with you, my man. But that like Gronk already retired. When you retire and you come back, there's only very few people that can do it and come back and kill the game. Michael Jordan, one of them. When he decided to take a break and go do baseball and all that other stuff, and he came back and killed the game again. I don't know many guys that can retire and come back and really still have love for the game. And he only came back to play with one guy, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is now retired. I can't see him going anywhere else. If you were ready to retire when Tom Brady was about to leave and you knew he was about to leave, fair. I can't see you coming to Buffalo. I don't care if you're a native of Buffalo or not. And personally, I don't give a damn about that guy. So in the Bills, me like screaming and cheering for Gronk. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'd be that Bills fan that's like Gronk scores. I'm like, who threw the football? Josh Allen? Yeah, Josh Allen. But I'm not rooting for Gronk. Nah, I'm good. I mean, if the Bills bring him on, I'll have to bite the bullet and say, all right, you feel me? Because I mean, at the end of the day, my team is who I want winning. So I mean, if he's part of the team, he's part of the team. But I'm not gonna be thrilled about it. I won't be thrilled about it. That's just keeping it a buck. We win a Super Bowl, I'll be running up and down the road, hollering and screaming, and I'm down the street crying in relief, guaranteed. You know what, though? I think I probably might do the same. And my street is pretty somewhat quiet. I just moved here about 4 or 5 months ago. And if they saw me running down the street, I think a couple people know that I'm a Bills fan because I have one of those 6-foot planks that has the family name on it, and it's got my Bills logo on that bitch. So they know I'm a Bills fan. So if they see me sprinting down, doing a 40-yard dash, screaming all over the place, they know the Bills just won. And there's a few people on my street that already know I'm a Bills fan. So John Yordis, I am with you. I'll be acting a damn fool. I can guarantee you that. John says, in some way, put the Super Bowl win hat in my casket. Oh my gosh, yeah. Give me some kind of memorabilia in my casket if the Bills win a Super Bowl. My goodness, you damn right. Anyway, Gronkowski, I'm not interested in Gronkowski. But if we have to bring him on the squad, so be it. So be it. So that being said, you guys already know I always appreciate you guys joining. I gotta fix this damn Wi-Fi situation. But it seems to be clear and cool now. So maybe I just needed to reset it, and I never did. And but this storm, I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to try to cut this short and get out of here. But we got the most out of Scott Kennedy. I think that was a great guest, and I'm going to continue to have him on as always. Hopefully he can join us for the draft. Draft is around the corner, folks. April, I mean, we just got into February, but February is a short month. So it's around the corner. And by the way, happy freaking Black History Month to my peoples out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a short month, but we you know what I'm saying? We got to get recognized, folks. Got to get recognized. We got to recognize we got our people that have been through it all. Got to be recognized. And in light of all this stuff going on in life altogether, it's a moment for people to just come together. You know what I'm saying? Black, white, orange, whatever the hell you are, is to just unite and be cool and love and all that stuff, man. But this is the world we live in, right? There's some people that just are against that type of stuff. So you just got to fight harder and make sure that people know that love conquers all. And with that being said, that is my time. So folks, have yourself a pleasant evening. I'm gonna get out of here and enjoy the rest of my Black History Month. I actually I had, check this out. I had my old colleague when I lived in my other city in Ontario and Ottawa. He hit me up because every day with the supervisors, we all get together and we sit there and I'd give them Black History Month facts every single day. You know what I'm saying? I was the only brother in the room. So I was like, yo, y'all gonna know these facts. So guess what? Every day I'd give them a new fact. So guess what? I'm obviously I'm in another place. I moved somewhere else. He hits me up and he goes, hey man, is it possible that you can send me a couple facts every day so I can share with the squad because you know they miss you and they da. So I was like, I got you. You you make an impact, man. You impact on people, man. You start dropping knowledge on them. They're like, yo, I didn't know that. Because a lot of people, a lot of things y'all don't know. The luxuries that you have today that you're using right now have been invented by a Black man or invented by a Black woman. I'll tell you right now, y'all don't know. I'm just saying. That same very console that you playing video games on. Guess who made that up? Just saying. The ref. We should all petition to get Rico on a Good Morning Football doc. Listen, I would have a lot of fun, man. If they brought me on and be like, hey, man, we're bringing super fan. I'd hate that they call me a super fan first of all. Super fan. Bitch, I ain't no super fan. I cover the team. But anyway, if they were to bring me on, man, I'll do my best to represent Bills fans all together. You know what I'm saying? Bring the energy, bring the love, man, and be the next Nathaniel Burleson, because I love that man. That man he's legit. You know what I'm saying? But that would be dope. Yo, the ref, I appreciate you, man. That would be cool if I get on. But yo, man, if I keep grinding, we keep grinding with this Buffalo Fanatics thing. You just never know where this can take us. You just never know. Never know. But anyway, that being said, folks, I'm gonna get out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And without further ado, enjoy yourselves. Be kind, be good. You know what I'm saying? And listen, don't be afraid to let folks know Happy Black History Month. Go give them a hug. And say, love you. Peace and love. That's my time, folks. Enjoy yourselves. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Oh, we got a super chat. Before I get out of here. Buffalo Bills need to draft Vitaly Gurman. Play for Toledo, Ohio. Oh, let me write that name down. Andrew, I appreciate that. You're giving me some nuggets, man. Who's going out of Toledo? Okay. Vitaly. What is he? Italian? Was he Russian? Sounds like a Russian name. Gurman. Vitaly Gurman. Done. I appreciate you. So drop the mics. You guys already know what it is. Namdi, my Nigerian brother, what's happening? Drop the mics. I like it. My man Sweat. What up, Sweat? Heather. What's good? Wi-Fi hug from Texas. I got you, my girl. Actually, Texas. You know, Texan horns. Went, bam, bam. I got you, kid. I got you. So that's it from me, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I must have said it like 17 times already, but y'all already know what it is, man. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy. And until next time, I'm gone. Let me turn this beat up. I like that. I like this beat. It's nice. That's it, folks. Enjoy yourselves.